So, g'day guys, welcome back to the Car podcast, episode 4.
Yeah, it's good to have you back. It's good to see you again.
Thank
and
you.
That's actually something I really find amusing to say is car podcast.
Yeah.
Every time I tell someone about it, I have a little chuckle to myself.
Yeah. It's I think it's just something, just trying to come up with a name that's sort of not really taken and not too much to choose from.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
But
it's about cars.
Speaking of some funny stuff going on, we got some news this week, and you've just told me some pretty interesting stuff from around the world.
Yes, okay, so the Taliban has come out or supported a new Afghan supercar that's come out, and we'll have to pop an image up there. And if you've not seen this thing before, it looks like something out of the old Burnout games. It's got some real tight angular angles going on. It's a real wedgy sort of design, and well, it's running on an interesting engine.
Yeah, didn't you say it's the motor out of a Corolla?
I believe it's a Toyota 4-cylinder engine in that car. So supercar and looks, I'm not sure about the performance.
Well, I mean, pretty interestingly, Lotus has also used the Toyota engine for a long time with the 2ZZFE. Even in its supercharged applications. And
pretty quick with the supercharger.
Yeah. So maybe there's something to it, but I think it's going to be maybe similar to the Mexican supercar from a couple of years ago.
Ooh, I don't remember that one. We'll have to have a look.
We'll have to look it up and put a second image up.
Yeah.
I don't think that's selling too well now.
We should do an episode just on weird supercars, sort of forgotten supercars of the world.
I think I'd almost have you beat on knowledge there.
Yeah, nice. What was the one? It was in one of the Fast and the Furious movies, and they went through a high-rise building, busted through the glass, and landed in another one.
I know exactly the car that you're talking of, and it wasn't a Zenvo, but it looks like a Zenvo, and it's one of those. Maybe it was the Diavel.
Yeah,
the 16-cylinder car that has been seen around at car shows for 15 years, but no one's ever seen running.
A lot of these supercars seem to have that sort of lead-in or that sort of life.
Yeah.
But it looks cool. I mean, it's something different, and any different car coming out, I think, should be embraced. So.
Yeah, and especially from a country that's had such a tumultuous recent history, to have some sort of manufacturing local.
Yep, something positive
is a really good thing for them.
Yeah, that's it. So we'll pop up a picture and check it out. There's a really good picture actually that they've been showing it in black, but in black you don't really see all the angles and curves and all that sort of stuff. But there's a silver one floating around.
Maybe that's the problem.
Pretty cool.
Maybe that's the problem I had when I was looking at it. Yeah. But we've also seen some other quite strange and quite big news come out in the last week. There's been a radioactive incident in Western Australia.
Yeah. So I don't know much about it, but what I've seen is a 3D print of what they have lost, just for size referencing, and it's like this big. Yeah. It's a little pellet about this big, and they've lost it somewhere in WA.
So if you haven't heard the news yet, I believe a trucking company has dropped a radioactive device, a radioactive pellet, on something like a 1,600 kilometre stretch of highway, somewhere between Perth and somewhere else in WA. And the size of a 10-cent piece, and I think all we've got so far is a police report that says if you find a 10-cent piece-sized piece of shiny material on the side of the road, don't pick it up.
Don't eat it. Yeah. Okay. I'll always try not to eat those sort of things off the ground, but
no, straight off.
But you never know. It can be tempting. You know, if it's got a little glow to it.
You might end up like Bruce Banner.
I don't.
The Hulk.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Well, you turn green.
Yeah.
They use green as like a nuclear sort of reference, don't they?
Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. Or I'm thinking like limitless. You know, you'll have unlimited knowledge and all that sort of stuff just by eating this pill. Guys, do not try this at home. Just I'm joking around. Let's not take this serious. But it is a concern, and I've got a solution.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, so I've watched a few movies about nuclear radiation, submarines and all this sort of stuff. And they tend to walk around with a little device And it makes beeping noise. As you get closer, beeps more, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
So how long's this stretch of highway?
1,600 kilometres.
I reckon if you travel that in an Afghani supercar, hanging out the window with one of these little detectors, you'll get there. You'll find it eventually.
Something like that. I think so. But there's been a few interesting things out of WA this week. There's something you've kind of pointed out to me as well.
Yeah, I think there's something in the water at the moment. So there's the police. There's footage of the police getting bogged in what looks like a Toyota Camry or similar size sort of family car on a beach.
Yep.
What are they doing on a beach in like a non-full drive here, just two-wheel drive car? It is beyond me.
Yep, definitely a Toyota Camry from the image, and I'm kind of the same opinion of you, but maybe they were chasing someone. They weren't able to get out of the car at the time, just straight onto the beach.
Yep.
Maybe it was a fishing trip, something like that. But two really silly news stories out of WA in the same week.
Yep. The Batuta Times will be happy to run with some of those stories, I think.
Yeah, most definitely.
And should I just quickly show what we've got in mind, or we cover it later on for the police and WA?
Well, I think we'll come back to it.
We'll come back to it.
Yeah,
all right. Hang tight. We're going to come back to this story.
The eagle-eyed might figure it out anyway.
Yeah, I think so.
On to the recall portion, and one that I'd kind of forgotten about until I started looking up stuff for this week's podcast. The D40 Navara chassis recall.
Ah, yes, one of the classics. A lot of utes seem to have chassis issues, I guess, between the tray and the cab. Is that a similar sort of issue?
Yeah, it's something like that. So I think there's a combination error, and especially with some of the utes that use a shorter overall wheelbase that maintain a long tray.
Gotcha.
So you end up with a longer overhang on the back of the chassis.
Gotcha.
And then coupled with our Australian roads and the kind of people that tend to tow around Australian roads, it always
push it to its limits. And
absolutely. Yeah. But there was a good lot of photos getting around quite a few years ago of Navaras that had just fallen apart in the middle.
Like that. Yeah.
So I think it affected something like 40,000 vehicles.
Wow. And they're only just doing a recall now?
I think, well, the recall must be ongoing.
Okay, because the MP300, the next model, that's been out for a while now.
I don't think it affects the NP300.
Doesn't affect that one, okay, yep.
But in doing a bit of research for this, I did happen to type in NP300 D23 recalls, and the lists were pages long.
Oh, okay,
So
alright.
There might be,
way to go, Nissan.
There might be a whole another segment in Nissan recalls.
Yep,
coming up in the future.
Alright. What sort of ones for the D23?
Oh, the front wheels fall off.
Ah, yes, kind of need those.
The brakes don't work. Electrical failures. The engine stops. So I wonder, actually, all of the D40s that were affected were Spanish built.
Okay,
instead of Thai built. I'm wondering if all of the D23s are also Spanish built. I wonder if it might be like a factory issue.
The standard of quality is not the same, or something like all the checks aren't there.
Yeah, because remember when we talked about our Firestone recall, it wasn't all of the Firestone factories, it was like 2 factories that had
was it? Okay, I didn't remember
problems.
that. No, okay, yep.
Yeah, so maybe it's Spanish Nissan has had a couple of problems in the developmental stage.
Okay, alright. Well, too many sangrias, I think.
Yeah. But if you got a D40, get that checked out for sure. Make sure that you're not affected.
So, as always, check your VIN, talk to your dealer, and check it out, because you don't want to be out past, west of the Black Stump and have an issue like that. So
now, the funniest thing about this whole recall situation from what I've seen so far, is if you've got a crack in your chassis, they will weld it up.
Right.
If you've got a failed chassis, I think they're going to replace it, something like that, so long as you're within the VIN range, etc.
Yep.
However, they believe that it's in part caused by the mounting of the tow bar, and their recall won't cover the cost of the tow bar. So if If you get all of it done and you need to buy a new tow bar, they're going to charge you an extra $1,000 for that.
Oh wow, okay.
So, pretty strange way to do things.
Yeah, not good. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. One thing that we'll do here at Auto One Browns Plains is that if you've got a D40 Navara and you've got a chassis issue and they've not replaced your tow bar, we're going to do a super discount on it. So we're going to go beyond what a normal sort of discount is, and we'll run that for the duration of 2023.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. And
it's probably something special.
Probably better anyway, because it was only the genuine tow bars that had the recall issue.
Yeah.
So one of your, what is it, Heyman Reese that you get?
The main one that we do these days are Tag.
Yeah.
Tag tow bars. Yep.
Yeah, they're a good manufacturer to work with.
Yep. Local. Good.
Yeah. Australian made as well.
Brisbane.
That's awesome.
Yep.
You don't see that a lot.
Yeah. So recommend them.
Yeah. Safety. All right. So this kindly leads into our products. So one thing, going on a long trip, and we've got Easter coming up shortly. Lots of caravanning happening. Good time to get out on the road. So you can. There's a couple of great electronic brake controllers out there. Yep.
And probably the most popular one on the market would be the Redarc Tow Pro Elite. And these ones here, they actually have a nice flush mounted dial on them. So they present really well. You hide the rest of it away. And they can change the proportioning themselves. So they've got some smarts to them. So they can, just depending on the way you're using them, or you can control it yourself.
Yeah, so
good options.
What is it? The dial on the Redarcs are basically like a sensitivity adjustment. So I really do like these. I've seen them in every car. I've never had an opportunity to use them myself, but it's one of those few accessories that even the dealers fit nowadays. Yep. And that's got to say something, because they don't tend to mess around with stuff that isn't easy to understand. But it looks like it comes with a pretty nice box that just tucks away in the engine bay somewhere, and then you run it. Yeah, wherever you want to hide it. You might be able to hide it under the dash somewhere, or wherever is relevant for your car. And then they just run a big single Anderson plug out the back to control it. Yep, run that out through to the back, and away you go. Seems almost like a DIY job. If you know what you're doing, yeah. So we offer it as a service. Oh yeah. Yep. So you'll need some extra wiring and all that sort of stuff to pull it off. So come in and have a chat to the guys. Even if you want to do it yourself, have a chat and we can put together a kit to complete the whole job. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Because you need more than just this. So yeah, that's that one. It's Australian made. Redarc, they have a fantastic reputation, so they are the leaders out there. And there's a new one that's come on, and it's we've only brought out. It's only come to our attention over the last year. Yep. But it's selling just as well as that one. So I'm not sure how it's going nationwide, but certainly very popular in this store. And that's the elect brakes. So this unit here, hold it the right way. It's a little bit different. Yep. So less wiring. So it costs more to buy outright, but you spend less in labour and wiring to make it all happen. So what you do, you grab one of these units, you plug it in, use your adapters to plug into your trailer plug. Nice. So that runs straight off your brake light solenoid. Yeah, that's all it needs for its power. So yeah, you've got your connection there, and that's gonna power itself off the existing connections. So off your brake light. That's awesome. So this is just one of the wires. So most common one would probably be a 7 to 7 pin, but this is a 12 pin to 12 pin. So there are lots of options out there for your wiring. It's got a third plug or a plug for the unit there, and it wirelessly controls your trailer brakes. That's awesome, and I like the way this product looks already. It's obviously just a plastic injection molded housing, which is neither here nor there, but this lovely semi-soft silicon potting for all of the componentry. No mush again through there. And a completely weatherproof, what looks like a OEM spec connector on it as well. That's brilliant, and even the heat shrinking, the rubber booting on that.
Quality.
Yeah, there's no way that's wearing out for a long time, especially if it's mounted properly as well.
So the idea with this one, the benefit from this one, so where you set this one up on your car, and it belongs to your car pretty much. That one there, you can move it from car to car or from trailer to trailer or something like that. So
yeah, right.
Places doing hiring or like hiring out trailers and stuff like that, they can add that to the package, and you control it with your phone, or you buy a separate controller.
That's pretty brilliant actually, because the install of the Red Arc is a time-consuming little process, and you know it's pretty hard. But if you can just pick up your module, and you've got 3 or 4 cars in your fleet or your home fleet, and 3 of them have a tow bar.
Yep.
You just pick up the module and go from car to car. That's
correct.
Pretty brilliant.
Spot on.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what's the controller like for them?
You know, I've not played with the controller. You can use your phone. You can Bluetooth in and control it that way. But have a look. It's got a nice LCD screen on it. Got your power.
Yeah. And it just runs off a
straightforward.
Off a mini USB. That's pretty nice.
Yep.
I've never been a big fan of the plastic switches or the all plastic controllers, but they have their spot.
Yeah, I mean you can hide it in your center console, or you can put some Velcro on there and some Velcro in your dash and mount it where you want to mount it. So it's just a very physical, always connected option, rather than having to jump in and out of your app. Yeah.
The only thing that I've disliked about these style of controllers is, especially with my work where we're always dirty and such, is the plastic on these buttons tends to get a bit worn out. But hopefully, if you're using it the way that it should be used, instead of getting dirty all the time, it shouldn't really be a problem. So that's an awesome bit of kit. I'm amazed by that.
Looking at the back of it, looks magnetic. No.
Not quite.
Look at the hump there. Okay, it's not magnetic. Stick to the Velcro, guys.
But that's safety-wise, trailer braking is a really important aspect of caravanning in general.
Any braking, really, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And it's actually something that I've had some personal experience with in the past as well. Not myself, but someone I was with while I was travelling had forgotten to release our handbrake from the trailer.
Oh, okay, yep. How'd that go?
Yeah, we had 2 unfortunate incidences with this family member forgetting to undo the handbrake.
Oh. And they're still part of the family?
Well, they started the family, so it's not really an option.
Oh, well done to them.
It's probably throwing him in the...
Yeah, I think we all know who we're talking about now, hey?
But we had one incident where we ended up on the side of the road with trying to put it out with water from a ditch.
Yep.
And luckily we got it all put out. But it's just not something you want to mess about with. You want to have the right setup all the time. You want to make sure that your brakes are in good condition. You want to make sure that the handbrake's not on. You want to make sure that you've got a good adjustable brake setup on the trailer. Because if you've got your sensitivity wound right up and you've got nothing in there and you lock up the trailer brakes, that's a good way to jackknife. If you've got it wound down,
for sure. Yep.
Yeah. All those things. That's a great product. I'm really happy.
Yeah, very cool, isn't it? Yeah. Yep. No, we're certainly popular. I think people recognise them. Another Australian-made product. So it's just from. I'm going to go off memory here. I think it's Central Coast, New South Wales.
Yeah.
It's nice that little outfit they make that. Yeah.
It's nice to see these little, very specific 4-wheel driving or caravanning or towing products all being made locally again as well. And especially when it comes to safety as well, because no one's going to understand our conditions like a local manufacturer.
Like the Aussies, yeah. I'll throw another one in there for caravanning trailer and all that sort of stuff. Check your bearings.
Yeah, absolutely. It's astounded me the number of times, even on an old Land Cruiser 80 series and such, when you get out and there's a good few degrees of movement. In a wheel bearing. Recently I had someone we were looking after complained of a noise, took their car to get a wheel alignment which they were due for. The wheel alignment shop did the wheel alignment, wasn't able to identify the noise, and it got progressively worse over the next week until he
Yeah.
had to stop and call us. And we got out there, and the wheel bearing would have been moving at least 10 millimeters in and out in the hub. It was completely chunky.
So good thing he saw you before going on a long trip, really.
Well, definitely. I think they'd booked in for camping that weekend, and they tow a trailer, so we managed to get that all booked in.
Cool.
But it was just one of those things where, even if they're a pretty good wheel alignment shop, they've managed to miss it, which is unfortunate. And that can be a real big problem, especially in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, yeah, especially on boats, boat trailers, that sort of stuff. They're going through more conditions than what some of the other ones are out there.
Yeah.
And a lot of those guys out there carrying a backup set of bearings as well, which is not a bad idea.
Yeah, especially with the boat trailers. I don't know how much it is nowadays, but was it 5 or 10 years ago, you could also get bearing savers, bearing buddies, where you could just
still out
spray a bit of grease in them as you go. Yep, that's also a really good thing. But for most people, having that added maintenance step every time you get in the van or every time you go on a trip, they're just gonna ignore it, which is a really unfortunate thing.
So really, it sounds simple, but maybe just a quick walk around. Kick the tyres, so to speak.
Yeah.
And just see if there's anything really obvious that's needs addressing.
Yeah, with everything, bearings, brakes.
Yep.
The things that stop you are the things that keep you alive. So make sure they're good.
Yep, absolutely. That was a good one. All right, and then on to. Actually, I'm going to jump onto this one because it's the one on top, and then we'll circle to the one for our friends in blue next. But this one here, so I've got two different sizes. They're essentially the same thing, but they have different amount of outlets. And this is the DC control box by Hardcore. Pretty new item, new to us anyway. And it's just a really neat way to have all of your power outlets mounted. So you can see here it's got USB Type-C, 2 ports on my unit, USB-C Type-A. It's got 4 of those ports, and 2 of those are quick charge 3s, so the latest, and then the other 2 are 2.4 amp ones, still good. Got a voltage meter on there as well, and then you've got some DC 12 volt inputs or outlets. They look like common ones that you'd use with like maybe solar panels and that sort of thing. And then on top, so just trying to have a look and show at the same time, you've got your regular 12 volt accessory ports as well.
Yeah, so that's quite interesting. And it looks like the unit that I've got has pretty much all of the same features except for some extra plugs on the bottom.
Now, how about that? Anderson plug. So I've got 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 on mine.
12 volt input, 50 amp output, that's pretty good. I've got 2 on mine. I've got a single 12 volt cigarette plug. But this is a pretty nice unit. It feels very well put together, and a really nice mounting system on the back.
It's very neat. It's there are a few different ones of these out there, and a lot of them, they all look the same. They all have the same design, so they're probably all pulling them out of the same factory, or they've just copied each other's design. But these guys, they've gone to some real effort to make it look good.
Yeah.
And look modern. Looks
I quite
presentable.
I quite like the display on this unit that I've got as well. It's slightly different to yours, so I can see I've got a
your voltage display on there.
A 4 big digital number voltage display. Beautiful. Which is really nice.
Very neat.
The on-off button feels a little bit cheap, but really, who's going to use it that much? But otherwise, for the price, I'd be pretty impressed to have this in a car.
Yeah.
The only thing that I would be missing, and this is probably much more specific to my use case, is like a 240 volt outlet. It'd be really nice to have some sort of inverter in there for the future.
Yep. All part of the same neat sort of package.
Yeah, I mean, most people are only going to be charging phones, laptops, etc. But if we could swap out one bank of these for a 240 inverter, that'd be awesome. Because battery charges, all that stuff.
Cool. So what's the most power hungry thing you attach to you would attach?
probably just a 12-volt battery charger, like a Milwaukee
Okay.
battery
So
charger.
it's not going to be high draw. So like maybe a little 350 watt inverter would cover it.
Yeah, and I'm sure that you've got one from Hardcore as well.
Yeah, look at that. They've got a range of those, and you can pick up 350s pretty cheaply. So if you're listening, Hardcore. That would be a great. Imagine if that one was maybe the size of this one, had a 240 outlet on it as well. So
they've even got a nice little space at the bottom for it.
Yeah,
There you go.
There you go. All right. Well, but yes, very cool. Cool new product. Now I'm starting to run out of space. But for our friends in blue, we've got blue treads. So when you're out there in your Camry and you're trying to catch the perps,
Yep.
you can catch them, and then you can chuck them in the car and get back home again. So get back to the station.
Probably good for community outreach as well. Every time you see someone stop, you can just pull them out, give them a little hand.
Yep.
But when you pulled those out, I had a good chuckle to myself. And it's nice that they've colour matched as well. But this really leads on to our caravan and four-wheel driving as well.
Yep.
It looks like every product you've bought today is Australian made.
Yeah, why not? Hey, let's do it. I mean, look, we're a local independent company ourselves, and it's great to see Aussie companies doing well. You know, look, some of our competitors out there owned by the Americans and so on, and there are definitely things in the shop that are made in China and probably owned overseas and all that sort of stuff. So it's great to show off Aussie products.
Well, especially when it's as high quality as the stuff that we've been looking at today.
Yeah, that's right.
Have you had these treads on shelf for a while now?
Ages.
Yeah, and no
forever.
complaints?
No. Let's see if they got their warranty on here. But I cannot remember processing a warranty on treads.
Yeah, that's pretty
And
impressive.
we've been selling them, I don't know, for a really long time. We've really been selling them for a long time. Lifetime warranty, and we've not had to use it. So.
Yeah, that's incredible. That was going to be my next question anyway.
And feel it feels strong.
So it's probably a bit heavy. Jeez, they are heavy.
They're lighter than Max Tracks, those ones.
Yep.
But I mean, you still need strength. So.
Yeah, and just the little integrated design features that you see as well. Really convenient mounting points
yep.
on both ends.
And Tread have a whole mounting system as well, mounting accessories that you can buy.
Are they pretty accessible as well? Pretty cheap to get into the mounting system?
Price is relative. I'm just trying to think for what they have. Look, there are different brands out there making mounting points.
Yeah.
I think these guys, their pricing on theirs is as good or as anyone else out there. I'll tell you what, I'll find some information out and I'll post it down below, and we'll try and find out who's got the best mounting options.
That's awesome. But also, just looking at it, it looks like you've got one slightly elongated end as well, which you could use as a sand shovel in a pickle.
Spot on. Got handles.
Integrated handles.
Where this cardboard is, yep.
Integrated handles throughout, that's great. Really easy mounting points. These knobs don't look too aggressive as well, so nice in between of not tearing up tyres and doing that sort of stuff. And these look a really high quality injection mold as well. None of the typical fuzz on the end where you can cut yourself pretty easily.
Yep.
So that's great.
Yeah, they've been doing it for a little while now, Tread. And I'm just trying to think. There's another brand that we sell called Exit Tracks, and they seem to have a pretty nice mounting kit as well.
Yep.
They don't feel as sturdy as the Tread ones, but their price is probably a little bit better.
Yeah, that is one
So
thing.
yeah, it's just depends on what you're after. If you're after something a little bit cheaper, you've got the Exit Track ones there. But if you're after something that's, it's stainless steel, it feels really solid, these guys make those sort of ones.
That is one thing I did notice. These are a little bit pricey, but I'm sure if you...
This is the HD range, so it's towards the top of the range.
Yeah. So and these have a weight rating as well, or not so much with these?
Let's have a look. I'm not too sure about that.
Maybe on the back. Yeah, heavy as.
Alright, so let's see. Dedicated. Okay. No, I don't think I'm getting anywhere by trying to read quick.
But they are stackable. You can have as many as you like and just
A
stack
lot of
them
people
all up.
carrying 4, so they're sold as pairs, so you can buy 2 pair, and then you really get yourself out of what you're trying to get out of.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great.
It's just enough to get you started. That's the idea, is that you get momentum, and you go from there.
Yeah, I think that's a great product, and I'm amazed without realising that we've bought out all Australian products today.
Just by coincidence,
Yeah.
like we didn't think about it. It's just we just wanted to show off some, something for the boys in blue, and then a couple of new products and safety related products as well.
Yeah.
So, excellent.
It's awesome.
Excellent.
Shall we just about wrap it up then?
I think so. Thank you very much for coming along.
Yeah, and as always, if you've got any questions, anything you'd like us to chat about, feel free to comment down below. Check out some of our previous episodes. Let us know how we're going, because we're pretty new to this. Follow Matt and the team at Auto One Browns Plains.
And Lachlan at Kashi.
Yeah, we'll catch you next time.
Okay, thank you. Until next time.